Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Cycle on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Christians across the world are celebrating Easter, marking the resurrection of Jesus Christ in a cornerstone of the Christian faith, symbolizing hope, renewal, and victory over death. Global Television Samuel Odi completes the report.
The celebration, which follows the solemn observance of Good Friday, draws millions of faithfuls to churches in worship, prayer, and reflection on the sacrifice and triumph of Christ. Clergy have called on believers to embrace the virtues of love, sacrifice, and forgiveness which Easter represents.
That's the real essence of Christianity. That's the bedrock of Christianity. That gives Christianity validation. That's the proof of the resurrected Jesus.
Christian faithfuls are urged to recount that Easter is a time for faith renewal and remember that no matter the challenge, there is always hope and a new beginning through the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Across communities, Christian faithfuls also expressed gratitude for life and called for peace, unity, and national progress, especially in challenging times. As celebration continues, Christians are reminded that the message of Easter goes beyond festivities, urging all to live a life of compassion, selflessness, and unwavering faith in the promise of a renewal. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma has called on Christians to embrace love, unity, and sacrifice as they celebrate Easter. He made the appeal during a Holy Mass at St. Rose of Lima Catholic Church in Oru East local government area. Our correspondent, Amarachi Ibe, reports.
Christian faithful gather at the church to commemorate the resurrection of Jesus Christ, a central event in the Christian faith, symbolizing victory over death and promise of eternal life. Delivering the homily, the auxiliary bishop of Olu Catholic Diocese, Most Reverend Thomas Obiatuegu, described the resurrection as the fulfillment of Christ's promise to rise after 3 days, noting that it marks the end of suffering and the beginning of new life of peace for believers.
So I will say that Christ has risen as he promised. And this is what we call resurrection. The battle is over. No more politics. No more battle. No more fighting. No more prosecutions and any type of any disorder after the resurrection.
In his Easter message, Governor Hope Uzodinma emphasized that the season represents hope, renewal, and foundation of Christian faith through Christ's sacrifice and resurrection. He urged citizens to reflect Christ's selfless love in their relationships, noting that such values are essential for building peaceful homes and a united society.
If we are Christ-like and love one another, there will be peace. And peace begets development. Peace creates the environment for investment. Peace attracts opportunity. Peace allows families to thrive and children to dream.
The governor also acknowledged prevailing economic challenges linked to global realities, calling on citizens to support one another and remain hopeful. He reaffirmed his administration's commitment to improving the welfare of the people through job creation, investment, and infrastructure development.
As a governor in Imo State, I'm doing everything within my power to restore prosperity to Imo State. Collective prosperity. Prosperity that will touch everyone. Prosperity that will touch every nook and cranny. We are working tirelessly to create jobs, to attract investment, to improve infrastructure.
Highlights of the Mass was Thanksgiving procession of the governor and family to mark the celebration. From Ozo-Omuma in Oru East, Amarachi Ibe reporting for Global TV News.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured Nigerians that the country will overcome its current economic challenges and security challenges, describing the present difficulties as temporary and part of a broader journey towards national renewal. In his Easter message, Shettima emphasized the importance of sacrifice, unity, and resilience, noting that the administration remains committed to peace, economic recovery, and long-term prosperity under the Renewed Hope agenda. He urged citizens to remain patient, reject division, and support ongoing reforms, stressing that national progress requires collective resolve and shared purpose. In a related development, the Christian Association of Nigeria in Niger State has called on both federal and state governments to intensify efforts in addressing economic hardship and persistent insecurity affecting residents. In its Easter message, the association urged Christians to reflect the values of compassion and generosity by supporting the vulnerable groups while also emphasizing the need for unity, peaceful coexistence, and sustained prayers for leadership. CAN further encourage active civic participation ahead of the 2027 general elections, stressing that collective responsibility is key to shaping a better future. Away from the Easter celebration, President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated the Gateway International Airport in Ikperu, Ogun State, alongside a new state-backed airline, commending Governor Dapo Abiodun for what he describes as a visionary leadership and prudent resource management in delivering the project. The president noted that the airport aligns with broader national infrastructure and economic development goals, while former President Olusegun Obasanjo described the facility as a landmark project that significantly reduces travel time for residents. Governor Abiodun said the airport forms part of wider investments, including over 1,600 kilometers of road, housing, and sectoral development aimed at positioning Ogun State as a competitive investment hub. The Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors has announced an indefinite nationwide strike beginning April 7, citing the federal government's decision to halt implementation of a revised professional allowance structure. The association says the move violates agreement reached after its 2025 strike and undermines trust, warning that healthcare services across the country will be severely disrupted. NERD is demanding immediate reversal of the decision and full payment of outstanding entitlements, including allowances for call duty, rural posting, and other incentives. And now to security matters, where the Nigerian Army has launched a large-scale stop-and-search operation across Jos, Plateau State, following a deadly attack that has left more than 28 people dead and several others injured across the state. Troops under Operation Enduring Peace have arrested suspects and recovered weapons while responding to fresh security threats in parts of Plateau State. The Chief of Army Staff has also approved the deployment of 850 additional troops to reinforce operations and restore stability in the affected areas. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has directed all resident electoral commissioners (RECs) to suspend publicity and preparation for the planned nationwide voter revalidation exercise. In a letter signed by its Secretary, Rose Oriron Anthony, INEC had initially instructed commissioners to begin necessary preparations, including mobilizing personnel and readying INEC voter enrollment devices. The Commission had earlier announced the exercise would commence on April 13, 2026, as part of efforts to update the voter register ahead of the 2027 general elections. The proposed timeline indicated that the exercise would start at the local government level from April 13 to May 2, move to the registration area level from 5th May to 11th May, and conclude at the polling units from May 13 to May 19. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has uncovered a major drug trafficking syndicate that concealed cocaine in tins of palm kernel oil bound for the United Kingdom, exposing it involving tactics by international cartels. Operatives intercepted over 3 kilograms of cocaine at the Lagos airport, leading to multiple arrests and the eventual capture of the alleged kingpin, alongside the recovery of hundreds of modified tins and drug processing equipment. The agency says the operation highlights its strengthened intelligence capacity, warning that traffickers exploiting legitimate export channels would be tracked and dismantled. You're watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
From Sunday's evening rainfall across parts of Lagos, Southern Ondo, and the coastal cities. If you are in this area, you may want to take precaution as there are possibilities of flash flooding. And by afternoon period, thunderstorm activity is expected to persist and extend further inland across the southern cities. Isolated thunderstorms are also likely over parts of the Federal Capital Territory, Kogi, Kwara, and Nasarawa states, with a possible extension into parts of Kaduna and Taraba State as well. Residents in these affected areas are advised to remain vigilant and take appropriate precaution, particularly against heavy rainfall, strong winds, and lightning. And that's your weather for Monday. Do join us again.
You're welcome back from that break, and now to business news, where the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has directed mobile network operators to compensate subscribers in areas where network quality falls below prescribed standards. In a statement issued recently, Head of Affairs at the Commission, Nenna Okoha, said affected users would receive airtime credits calculated based on their average spending pattern and their presence within local government areas where service failures occur. The Commission explained that the move is part of its broader consumer-focused regulatory philosophy aimed at placing subscribers at the center of Nigeria's communication ecosystem. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says the banking sector is now better positioned to absorb economic shocks and finance large-scale investments following the completion of its recapitalization program. According to the Apex Bank, lenders collectively raised 4.65 trillion naira, strengthening their capacity to support small, medium enterprises, infrastructure, and export-oriented industry critical to economic diversification. The CBN added that the strengthened capital base will enhance long-term financial stability and drive industrial growth across key sectors. Still talking business, the Maritime Academy of Nigeria has projected over 24 billion naira in revenue for the 2026 fiscal year. Acting Rector Dr. Ken Okonna made the disclosure during a budget defense session for the House of Representatives Committee on Maritime Safety, Education and Administration. National Assembly correspondent Aniete Patrick reports.
Giving a breakdown of the expected revenue, he explained that after statutory deductions to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, the Academy expects a net revenue of nearly 24 billion naira, with major inflows from the 5% statutory funds of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, student fees, and other internal sources. On expenditure, the institution plans to commit the bulk of its budget to capital projects, overhead costs, and personnel emolument, matching its total projected revenue. The rector also highlighted recent achievements, including international certifications, improved power supply, and increased cadet placements through partnerships with NLNG Shipping and Marine Services Limited.
This issue, fortunately for us, when we went for the defense at the Senate Committee on Marine Transport, we were sitting side by side with NIMASA. So we presented the same, and the senators asked the same question. We never know we have never got information on what NIMASA is budgeting. So from here and there, we put a budgetary projection. But the matter was also brought to the fore, and NIMASA promised that subsequently they will give us information on what they are budgeting.
Chairman of the committee, Khadija Bukar Ibrahim, described the academy as critical to Nigeria's maritime growth, while urging transparency, accountability, and strategic spending. She stressed that budget allocations must translate into visible improvements as lawmakers work to reposition the institution into a globally competitive maritime training hub. As conversations continue, lawmakers push for transparency, seek world-class maritime academy for maritime sector growth. From the National Assembly, Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Still in the National Assembly, the Senate has intensified efforts to reposition Nigeria's agricultural colleges and research institutions by seeking support from key global partners for reforms, technology transfer, and investment. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Agricultural Colleges and Institutions, Senator Sharifuddin Ali, disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja. Ali said the committee had engaged diplomatic missions of Malaysia, Brazil, China, Germany, India, the United Kingdom, and the European Union as part of broader plans to revitalize agricultural education and research in the country. He noted that the National Assembly was committed to leveraging international expertise to improve productivity, strengthen institutional capacity, and promote job creation, particularly in rural communities. And now to news making rounds on the foreign scene. United States President Donald Trump has renewed his warning to Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, threatening severe military action if the key global shipping route remains restricted. The ultimatum comes amid escalating tensions with Iran, warning it could fully shut the strait and retaliate against the United States' interests and regional allies if attacked. The standoff continues to heighten global economic concerns, given the strategic importance of the waterway to international oil and gas supply. Meanwhile, former Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has proposed a roadmap for ending the United States-Israeli war on Iran as tensions escalate across the Middle East. Zarif called for a broader resolution beyond a temporary ceasefire, warning that prolonged fighting would lead to further civilian casualty and infrastructure damage. He suggested Iran could limit its nuclear program under the international monitoring and reopen the Strait of Hormuz in exchange for the lifting of sanctions on the country. The proposal comes amid escalating tensions across the Middle East and growing economic concerns. Now, after 4 years of a brutal war of attrition, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has signaled that the path to peace may likely come through Turkey. Meeting with Ecumenated Patriarch Bartolomei in Istanbul, Zelensky moved beyond battlefield rhetorics, responding to a growing call for a diplomatic resolution. Our correspondent, Kabir Hassan, reports.
Since 2022, Ukraine has remained a landscape of destruction and resistance. But in Istanbul, the tone shifted from war to a calculated push for peace. Zelensky met with Patriarch Bartolomei to discuss humanitarian concern, including abducted children and prisoners of war. However, attention turned to Turkey's proposal to host a high-level peace summit an offer Zelensky says Ukraine is ready to embrace.
Ukraine, how to stop this war. And of course, about peace, we need peace. We need negotiations and peace talks. Peace, we spoke with President Erdogan. He is also on this side, on the peace side. And of course, we need to stop this war and to use all the, all the values, all the diplomatic experience what our friends have, and also President Erdogan, he wants to make negotiations here in Istanbul. We are ready to come. I always said that we are ready for the meeting on the level of leaders in any kind of format.
Zelensky's declaration places pressure on Moscow to respond. Whether the claimant accepts the call for dialogue or maintains its current stance remains uncertain. Whether the claimant accepts the call for dialogue or maintains its current stance remains uncertain. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
Now to the exciting world of sport, where the third National Para Games has come to a colorful close at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, with Enugu State emerging overall champions in a thrilling display of talent and resilience. The week-long competition wrapped up inside the Foldrum, drawing top government dignitaries, including Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Shettima.
Her remarks, the First Lady praised athletes for their discipline and determination, describing all participants as champions, regardless of medal standings. She reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to inclusive sports development under the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu.
You have shown us that the spirit of happiness knows no limitation. As a mother, I am deeply inspired. I see not just athletes, but tiny sons and daughters of Nigeria who have chosen courage over fear, excellence over expenses and limitations.
Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, also assured para-athletes of continued support, emphasizing their importance in Nigeria's sporting future.
I remember when we came in, we said we have to reset, we have to refocus, we have to relaunch. Those are the three pillars of the Renewed Hope initiative for Nigeria's sports economy that we are implementing. And part of it is that we have to be deliberate about whatever we are doing and intentional about it. That is the refocusing part of it. The resetting part of it is...
On the medals table, Enugu State finished top with an impressive haul of 40 gold, 8 silver and 7 bronze medals. Bayelsa placed second, while Edo State secured third position. Rivers and Lagos States completed the top 5. Speaking with Global TV exclusively, Director General, Ministry of Youth and Sports, Enugu State, Dan Onwonwubuna, said their performance is a prelude of what should be expected at the upcoming National Sports Festival in Enugu.
Came here looking for gold, looking to win actually, so that it will be a prelude to National Sports Festival that will hold in Enugu very soon, hopefully November this year. So we came here to determine our fate and say that yes, we have arrived in sports, because over time Enugu State sports had dwindled to a very terrible extent, very deplorable.
The 2026 edition of the National Para Games leaves behind a strong message of inclusion, excellence, and the rising profile of para sports in Nigeria. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Global TV News.
Still talking sports, but this time in football, where Niger Tornadoes have issued a strong warning to their supporters over the crowd misconduct, cautioning that further incidents could lead to the club losing its home ground advantage in the ongoing Nigeria Premier Football League season. The club's secretary, Jibrin Haruna, made the appeal following a final warning from the league board over security breaches and fan behavior during the recent home fixtures in Minna. He stressed that the conduct of supporters would play a decisive role in determining whether the team can complete the season without sanctions. That's it on News Cycle. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now displaying on your screen. using our Global TV NG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching.